Atlanta is a place where history lives among modern cityscapes, where people from all over the world come to do business and to play, where the South commingles with the rest of the planet. In June 2017, 30,000 business leaders will converge on the world's busiest airport, and Southern Rotarians from the beaches to the bluegrass will greet them in Atlanta. We're rolling out the scarlet carpet for a new milestone in Rotary history, and the best and biggest party in 100 years. Arch Klump announced the birth of the Rotary Foundation in Atlanta in 1917. Atlanta 2017 is a rebirth. We join hearts and hands to finish off polio and take on the challenges of the new century. We'll raise glasses, renew relationships, and make our home a destination they'll visit again. But before they disperse to the four corners, they'll want to experience NASA's Cape, Disney's World, Savannah's charm, Charleston's waterfront, living history in Williamsburg and Washington, and beautiful Caribbean beaches. They'll dance to Nashville's rhythm and rush home at NASCAR speed to tell their home folks where they've been. If they're faithful to the four-way test, y'all can rest assured we're sure to see them again.
Around the world and in our community. Is anybody watching the Olympics right now? Okay, so we're in for a real treat today. We're in for two treats. One is our speaker has a flair in that area, a little bit to talk about. Number two, I want to really recognize Scott Philstrip for bringing up a gold, a bronze, and a silver 1904 Olympic medal that his grandfather earned. So if you get a chance, come by and take a quick look at that. They are over 100 years old, so be very careful. We appreciate that, Scott. So let's go ahead and get started. Our invocation today is by Kathy Gurrell, Song and Pledge by Bob Reed, Visitor Introductions by Michael Turner. So now for our invocation, Kathy.
Will you join me in prayer? First, we thank you for the privilege of living in a country of peace, prosperity, and freedom. You have placed all of us in a city where there are so many business opportunities. We thank you for the many ways you have blessed us. But because we are blessed, we're called to bless others. So we thank you for many opportunities to serve through this club, through our churches, and other organizations. There are so many that are oppressed throughout the world, and we lift up particularly the people in the Middle East and other countries with great political unrest. We pray specifically for the eradication of polio throughout the world and for the work of the Rotary clubs, that they might be a beacon of light and a peace in their corner of the world. Forgive us for our shortcomings and direct our thoughts, words, and actions that we might be your hands and feet here in Tulsa and beyond. Amen.
As John mentioned, of course, I know a lot of you have been watching the Olympics, and we've heard our national anthem played quite a number of times. I'm not sure some of the athletes know the words, especially Michael, but if you won 21 or 22 medals, I guess it's not a problem. He seemed to enjoy it last night, and so did I, because we are winning a number of gold medals. So in line with that, we will sing the national anthem. Oh. Our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the Rotary Club of Tulsa, and even though our speaker is a member of the Oklahoma City Rotary Club, we are the best darn Rotary Club in the world, so my apologies. Today I'm going to introduce our visitors, and I will ask if they will stand, please, along with their host Rotarian, and please hold your applause till the end. Daniel Melicon is the son and guest of Brenda Melicon, and we've heard everything about you. Thank you very much. Larry Wagner and his host Rotarian is Russell Gibbs. Good to have you here. Denise Dillon is the guest of Jerry Dillon, and I was told to say she's the wife of 51 years, but not about the husband of 51 years, so I was confused, sorry. And Carolyn DeCamp is the awesome guest of Sergeant Catherine DeCamp. Good to have our visitors here. Visiting Rotarians, Michael Jones with Southside Rotary. Hi, Michael. Thank you so much for your attendance.
I want to thank our sponsors today, specifically Kevin Moody with Moody's Jewelry, Diane Peacock with Peacock Financial Services, Bob Parker with Robert E. Parker, attorney, and Daniel Ketchum, Tom Clinda, and John O'Connor with Newton O'Connor, Turner, and Ketchum. Thank you very much for your participation and funding for our office staff and programs here at Rotary Club of Tulsa. We have one committee meeting today, and it's Partners in Education in room 232. If I could have the lovely Sergeant at Arms come up, Catherine.
Hello, Rotarians. My coach, Bob Selman, told me that I need to occasionally tell a joke, so I asked my lovely daughter for a joke. So if you have any complaints, you can see her after the meeting. So here's your joke. Two melons were talking to each other, and one said to the other, "Hey, let's run off and get married." And the other one said, "Sorry, but I can't elope." I thought that was good. I mean, it's summertime, so that's a good melon joke for summertime. All right, so let's get started on our slides. We had an anonymous donor donate $100 in the memory of our friend and Rotarian John Shields. So thank you for that, and he is in our thoughts. Barney James, Barney's donating $59 for his birthday, which was July 26th. Instead of using his lovely photo, he gave us a photo of his daughter Meredith with Lauren Ketchum. They're both team captains of the Booker T. Washington Lady Hornets soccer, and Lauren's a 2-year starter, all-conference goalie, and Meredith is a senior 3-year starter. Now, I'm thinking there should be more money involved in this slide.
That was
I'll tell you
$100.
why. Because first of all, there's like lots of people being talked about, but also Daniel Ketchum. Are you here today? Where's Daniel? He's not here today, but that's his lovely daughter. And Bob Reed.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Okay, so just, throwing out a hint there about some dollars. Okay, so happy birthday, Barney. And Luann Bulinger celebrated her 56th birthday, and she said, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to do a reverse donation. So now every year older, I'm going to donate like $1 less." Now, I don't want that to start being a trend where you all start donating less, but I can tell you that Lou is my buddy, and she'll be fined a lot this year. So don't think that this is all we're getting. We're gonna get her. There she is. Happy birthday, Luann. Becky, are you here today? Where is she? She was supposed to be here, but she donated $100 for her 2 years in Rotary. So happy anniversary to Becky. Now, one of the hottest grandmas around is Rhonda Rentz. She has a brand new bundle of joy, so she donated $100. And I want to let you know that his name is Lewis, but they're going to call him Louie, and I'll bet she just can't get enough of that new baby smell. So, and she's Mina. Don't call her grandma, okay? She's Mina. So congratulations to you, and thank you for the donation. Now, although Jerry Dillon did not put himself on the guest list as being married for 51 years, he made a generous 100 donation to celebrate 51 glorious years with Denise. And we had these lovely photos. Their anniversary was August the 6th. So thank you for that. And thank you for being here today, Denise. So this is for you. And now we have a Celia Clinton reminder. There will be no tennis balls involved. And for those of you who are wondering, I had no idea. Somebody said, was that staged? And I said, no, it would not have been staged on my side.
It was staged by me.
Yeah, so, yeah, having like 30 tennis balls heading your way. So, Celia Clinton, they do still need tennis balls, so have those. But we're also still gathering the dollars for the teachers, where each teacher gets a $200 gift card to buy supplies for their classroom. If you have any money, if it is $1, if it's $2, if it's $5, if it's $500, whatever you have, please give that to Terry Heritage or the office, or you can give it to me. We'll make sure it goes to the right place. So don't forget that. And now, we need to do like a boom, boom, boom. You know, say
Bump, 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 bump.
Football season. Everybody's ready for OSU to do their thing. And thank you to Tim and Barbara Knoll. Where are you? This is one of the most awesome donations that we get every single year. So we're going to do this right. We're going to get some money for these tickets. So this is what we have for you. Their tickets are now on the 50-yard line. Okay, so that's a picture. You really can't see it, but if you see that little orange dot sort of at the bottom on the 50-yard line, that's where the seats are. And it's not only seats at the 50-yard line. You also get free reserved parking in the gold zone. So there's a map. We have like a little map, and you get this thing to hang on your car. And it's not only that, you also get breakfast or lunch with the Knolls. They will actually take you out and treat you to a wonderful breakfast or lunch. This is like the whole package, people. So we're going to have the first auction. It's going to be a live auction in here, and the first one will be September 3rd. That's the game, and we're going to do it on August 17th. That's next week. So be ready to bid for those tickets. It's going to be a great game. If you have a slide you would like done, please send it to me by Sunday evening before Rotary, because I'm a people pleaser. I want to get all the slides in, but at the same time, I'm not pleasing the office by doing late slides. Please turn your slides in on time. So we're going to do 50-50 at the end of the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Did you play tennis last week? No? Okay. I expected some kind of tennis ball action at me, but oh, I know. Announcements today. Mike Samara, there's cards on your table, is recovering from a broken hip. Please sign those and extend him well wishes. Now for our project announcements, could I please have Stephanie Cameron come forward to speak about Partners in Education, and cue up David Downey.
Hi everyone, Stephanie Cameron here. I'm the chair of the Partners in Education Celia Clinton Committee. Our public schools need us now more than ever before. We have 3 things that we're looking for. We are trying to recruit reading partners. This is where you're reading with one child once a week. You can go as long as you'd like. We're also looking for people to help with rewards for our students and our teachers. We're also looking for people with ideas on how to better serve our students and our teachers at Celia Clinton. We do have a committee meeting today in room 232. If you'd like more information, please join us there. Thank you.
No, I'm not going to dance to the song. He was going to pay extra money for that. I am here on behalf of your social committee. And why in the world would I be dressed up like this? Well, Alicia and I thought that our first social committee event should be also wrapped around community service. So mark your calendars, ladies and gentlemen, Friday, September 9th, United Way's Day of Caring, and we are going to do a little project as part of our first social committee. And you might guess what we're going to do. We're going to work. And we're going to work at, come on, peeps, why would I dress up like a village person? We're going to work at the YMCA, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to work at the YMCA. You don't pay me enough to do this, by the way. So, I can't read with these on. So here's the deal. Friday, September 9th, we're going to kick off at 7:30 at the Golden Driller there at the fairgrounds. We're going to caravan over to the YMCA on East Pine Street, where we are going to do some, where'd my prop go? Construction. If you can use one of these, you're qualified for our event. We're going to assemble and tear down playground equipment. Old playground equipment we're tearing down, new playground equipment we're putting up. That's going to be Friday the 9th of September. Wear comfortable clothes and sensible shoes. You can sign up either by emailing me or emailing Alicia, or you can do it on DACDB. Put it on your calendars, ladies and gentlemen, Friday, September 9th. Thank you.
Thank you, David. I do expect the dance with you and Alicia at the event after the work is concluded, though. Alicia, yes. Oh, okay. And now I'd like to introduce our Rotarian of the Day, past President Chuck Wilson. Chuck is a mortgage banking officer for Associated Mortgage Corporation. He joined our club in May of 1988 and served as club president 96 to 97. He's a member of the Allen Edwards Society, Club Foundation Fellow, Paul Harris Fellow, MSNI Ambassador, and a Rotary Foundation benefactor. Chuck, like all of us, came to our club through a sponsor who told him it would be good for his business. But he did not make it clear he was joining Rotary because Chuck thought he was joining TIPS. So it wasn't until he actually went on a service project and understood he was in Rotary, and at that point he was infected. What keeps him in Rotary is rubbing elbows with outstanding people he has known, past and present, along with the opportunity to make a significant impact locally and internationally through his service. Chuck has kept active and energized over the years. When I asked Chuck about a fun fact, he simply said, 11 grandkids. That doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun to me, but I know it's interesting. So please help me welcome Chuck Wilson.
My cousin's son-in-law, Mike Knopp, and yes, there is a K before Knopp in Knopp, was the first ever rowing coach for my alma mater, Oklahoma City University. He was the driving force in bringing the Oklahoma Regatta, a rowing competition that attracts more than 50,000 people to our state each year. He is also the executive director of the Oklahoma City Boathouse Foundation. Raise your hand if you have visited the boat district in Oklahoma City. Wow. Now, many of you are Rotarians who went over for the visit, Oklahoma City, and we had a personal tour by Mike. My wife and I and our 10-year-old, one of our 11 grandchildren, visited the boat district just a couple of weeks ago, and we had such a great time, and I'll let Mike tell you more about it so you'll understand what went on. The results of all this work on Mike's part, one of the results is Oklahoma City was selected as an official Olympic training site. Mike holds a Juris Doctorate degree from OU, graduated from OSU in 1994. His greatest achievement? Somehow convincing his beautiful wife, Tempe, to marry him. Tempe also works with youth and high school rowers. They have 2 boys and live in the Oklahoma City area. Will you please welcome our fellow Rotarian, Mike Knopp.
Well, it's great to be back. I was here a few months ago introducing my friend Kevin Harris, the head coach of the University of Tulsa rowing program. I'm kind of wondering where he is today, by the way. No, but they're obviously getting ready for their big season coming up as school's getting ready to come back in session. But this is an exciting time. I mean, when you're involved in this sport, in rowing, and then also with canoe kayak, as we are in Oklahoma City, the Olympics is what you look forward to every 4 years. I mean, this is kind of this is the Super Bowl, you know, in these sports. And so, and it's especially, I think, powerful when now, since we've been an Olympic training site for the past several years, we can really see the imprint that we are making in the Boathouse District in Oklahoma City on the Olympic movement with both rowing and canoe kayak. And so, if you tune in today, you're likely going to see some of our athletes, or athletes that have spent a lot of time in Oklahoma City competing in Rio. And for example, in both on the rowing side, even in the women's 8 that they just dominated the other day, and they advanced to the medal round. Many of those athletes have come through Oklahoma City. The men's 8, the men's 4, the lightweight 4, which is based in Oklahoma City, the women's double. All of these athletes have spent either they're stationed in Oklahoma City, or they spent a lot of time or developed in Oklahoma City. So it's exciting to see the connection that we do have with the Olympics. And then on the whitewater side, today they have the whitewater competitions going on in Rio, and the athletes that you see representing the U.S. qualified in Oklahoma City. So and on the other side of that sport, which is sprint canoe kayak, we've been headquarters for that part of the program in Oklahoma City, and they'll be racing next week. So it is very much truly an exciting time, and especially considering this ditch that we were rowing in, 15 years ago, that's what it was. And now it truly is a world-class venue. And I'm going to start by showing a video, if we're ready. This was on CBS Morning News. I don't know if you happen to have this was back a month ago. And they came out during the Olympic trials and did a full story on our development in Oklahoma City. And so I think it'd be a good way to start, and it kind of summarizes what's been going on. So if you can go ahead and roll that.
In hunting for an interesting new summer road trip destination, we have one that's worth a look. It's one of the few whitewater rapids in the world that's really easy to get to, especially if you live in the middle of the country.
It's also one of the rare whitewater spots that suits elite Olympic athletes, regular families, and everyone else in between. Meg Oliver is here to tell us more. Good morning, Meg.
Good morning. It's located at the crossroads of America, where Interstate 35 and I-40 meet, the last place you'd expect to hear and see rushing rapids. In Oklahoma City, it's not just the skyline that's rapidly changing. Now you can catch a fast, adrenaline-pumping ride. High-octane whitewater rapids under Oklahoma's bright blue sky. Spread over 11 acres, Riversport Rapids is the latest addition to the city's waterfront. A $45 million whitewater rafting and kayaking facility right off a revitalized Oklahoma River. When you think of Oklahoma City, you tend to think of football, maybe rodeo. You don't think of this.
That's why this is a game changer for Oklahoma City.
Mike Knopp is the man behind the vision. 20 years ago, the rowing coach for Oklahoma City University had a dream. Why did you think it would fit here?
I think there's a pioneering spirit here in Oklahoma City. The fact that, we don't have mountains and we don't have the ocean. And while it seemed far-fetched, people really embrace this idea of doing something truly unique and something that you don't see all over the country.
This is how the river looked 20 years ago. A dry riverbed littered with trash, a TV dumped in the weeds.
Another big storm in Oklahoma, and this is a real one.
After a series of devastating floods during the Depression, engineers redirected the river away from the city. This used to be a muddy ditch. Tell me about it.
Well, it was a ditch that we mowed 3 times a year, and it was kind of a dividing line in Oklahoma City.
Knopp has turned the dividing line into a destination. In 1993, the city passed a 1-cent sales tax dedicated to downtown projects. 4 years later, crews built dams and filled in a 7-mile stretch of the river.
We really saw the river and what this whole boathouse district would provide would be a place that would bring people back together to the river for recreation.
Recreation taken to a whole new level. 3 years ago, Riversport Adventures opened. Only 50 feet from the Whitewater Center, the park has it all, from ziplining across the river, free-falling off the 80-foot rumble drop, or shooting down America's tallest high-speed slide.
Part of this was also about creating and infusing an outdoor culture into a place that really wasn't known for that.
Did people think you were crazy?
Well, I have to tell you, at first they did, but once we were able to present the vision and how it ties into what we've already created, I think it did start to resonate.
Today, the river is an official Olympic and Paralympic training site. River Sport Rapids only enhances that.
This channel over here is our competition channel. So this is where we will actually host the Olympic trials.
The competition channel runs 1,300 feet. Last month, the nation's top whitewater slalom athletes competed here on the road to Rio.
How hard is it going to be for me?
Oh, it's going to be easy. You'll love it.
Dave Hepp is a world-class kayaker. He's hoping the center will be a national attraction, especially for families and beginners. With Hepp in charge, he guided me down the competitive channel in a double kayak. It was one heart-racing, water-smacking, amazing run. The recreational course stretches 1,600 feet with full-on Class 3 and Class 4 rapids. The intensity is increased and decreased by a network of pumps.
People, regardless of their ability, can come out and have this high adventure experience just like they would if they were in Colorado or somewhere in the wilderness going on a raft trip.
Exciting drops and cold waves keep riders on the ball for the 15-minute run. There are plunging pockets where kayakers can freestyle with flips, tricks, and surf.
After almost 20 years of working on this, when you look around and you see it, what do you think?
Well, I do have to say I got to pinch myself every now and then. For Oklahoma City to be on the map in water sports of all things, when a lot of perceptions of Oklahoma, frankly, are connected to the Grapes of Wrath or the Dust Bowl, I think is very powerful and it's gratifying.
It's really something to experience. Benita and Anthony, I've been whitewater rafting in Montana, and I can tell you, it feels like the real deal.
So how is this compared to just the kayaking? Because we saw some people doing tricks and flipping over and whatnot.
When I went down in the double kayak, that was unnerving. I'm not going to lie. The waves hit you hard, which is why you never see my reaction, because our GoPro in front of the kayak
Got knocked off?
right away. Which is probably good, because my reaction probably was
I got to
priceless.
tell you, I spent a lot of time in that city back in the early '80s, and that is just transformational. I mean, it so reshapes what your perception of that time is. It's amazing.
Absolutely. And you know what the trick was? Mike Knopp was saying that a lot of these other towns that are trying to revitalize, they're just putting restaurants there.
Yes.
They put something that's going to draw people in to be active.
And it's nowhere else. That's the other thing.
We applaud you and your wetsuit. Nicely done.
Get that GoPro back, will you?
All right. So I hope that makes you want to come take a look and get in a raft. It really, as I said, it really is for everyone. It is authentic. It is not a ride at Six Flags. I mean, you're in a real raft going through a real experience with a real highly trained guide. But the fact is, you can't do this in any other downtown in America. So the fact that it is truly an urban adventure, and the fact that a lot of the Olympians that were here in Oklahoma City a couple of months ago, when you come over, you ride up a conveyor belt, which is kind of how you get to the top, kind of like a ski lift, and you're floating in the top pool, which is where you start. And then when you look down the course and your point of reference, the thing that you mark, can you guide yourself down the course, is the Devon Tower. That is a unique aspect of the sport that has never been done before. That we have skyscrapers that we use as our markers. So we do see it as a game changer, because when we look, when it was back in about 2007 when I was pitching ideas for what MAPS 3, which is similar to, of course, your vision program and what's going on and the great things happening here. We had an idea of taking the river development that had been started through MAPS to the next level. The idea that we had kind of proven the point that there's something you can do with this ditch. We built some boathouses. We had success. We actually had Harvard and some international teams come, and it was really affirming that they said, this place is really special. The fact that you have a downtown urban venue with a 2,000-meter race course, it's straight, it's sheltered from the wind. There's not a lot of commercial. There's no industrial traffic or commercial traffic on the river to contend with. It's all for recreation, and it's within walking distance of downtown. That is unique, and that truly, when you look at Olympic venues around the world, whether it be London, or don't use Rio as the example, but when you look at London or Sydney or these other venues, and you look from the top down at their rowing or canoe kayak flatwater course, it doesn't look that different than the Oklahoma River, believe it or not, now that we have water in it, because it is totally straight, and it looks like it was intentionally dug out for this purpose. And so it was something that I had to convey early on to our city leaders in our community. The first group I talked to was the Rotary Club of Oklahoma City. You know, I had a presentation, and there was people that thought it was a little crazy, to be honest, but you know, 20 years later or less, the place that I was sitting doing that interview was on Rotary Point. So that became their signature project over the last couple of years. So it's something that the community, once they sort of understood it, it was the last thing I think people thought we would be like world-class and internationally known in. But once we kind of proved that that opportunity was there, then people really kind of got on the bandwagon that we can be a river city and we can be world-class in the scope of this project. And that's where the first move we made with the first boathouse, which was opened exactly, it was 10 years ago, so this development is about a decade old. We did it intentionally, kind of set out on that course, you know, from the start with doing something a little different and world-class. And believe me, early on when I did talk to our Rotary Club back then, I kind of, pretty simple plans, to be honest, because I just wanted to get it started. And so it was like, can we just get something going down there? Because our river, unlike your river here, I mean, it was truly, people stayed away from it. I mean, it was like a dividing line in town, truly a dividing line between the north side and the south side. And granted, the river, Oklahoma City was settled on the river for a reason. It was actually a recreational hotspot in the very early days of Oklahoma City. We had our zoo was located there. Our first amusement park was there. But as it showed in the video, it flooded over and over again, which then everything moved away from the river. And the Army Corps of Engineers came in and channelized it and took care of that flooding issue. They did a really good job at that. Yeah, so no more flooding, made this big ditch through town. What they probably, let's maybe give them credit. Maybe they did see it 50 years from then, that they happened to dig out a totally straight 2,000-meter section of ditch, you know, that was 400 feet long or wide, and it just needed water. And that's where I came in when I was actually an assistant DA in town, and I was a rower with my wife Tempe, and we wanted to get something going. We felt like that sport could do something. We could do something not just about rowing, but about activating the river, getting people, you know, we needed to get healthier in Oklahoma City. I mean, we were not known for all of our outdoor recreational assets at that time. Things have come a long way since then, but so we started this program, and I used to go down there and mountain bike at lunch or run in the weeds and see, gosh, you know, this could really be something special. And that's where we had this idea of a very simple boathouse, a metal building. We kind of changed course a little bit once we had enough water in the river. Once the first dam was done, we had our first event. We thought it was big time because Wichita State came down, and you know, we had some bit, you know, at that time, nothing against the Shockers. It was great that they were there, but you know, today the fact that we have, you know, the Australian national team coming to train, back then it's all relative. At that time, that was a big deal that anybody would come from outside of Oklahoma City to our river. And so we had people that I brought down to the river that day, and just I think people seeing activity on our river was powerful. And so at that point I said, okay, we have a chance to be really world class. If we build the first building on the river, it ought to be special. It ought to send a message. And that's how the Chesapeake Boathouse was born, is that we wanted to do something a little outside the box, and it was. We got a little flack at first. It was not your typical boathouse. It's very modern, very futuristic, and the idea was we wanted to be seen as a place that innovates and looks ahead for the sport. We didn't have hundreds of years of tradition. I mean, that was one of the challenges and one of the opportunities in Oklahoma City, and frankly here too, because we didn't have people saying you can't do it that way. So we tried to reinvent some things about the way that, you know, made these boathouses architectural statements, made them places that people would get married in. I couldn't believe how many people had their weddings at the boathouse, or We filmed, American Idol was filmed in the Boathouse District. I mean, all these things that brought, the point was it brought people to the river. It, you know, whereas just a shed with boats wouldn't, it would have gotten some people, but not made it a landmark in the community, and that's what that first building was meant to do. And so from there, you know, we formed this foundation. We had city stakeholders and leaders in Oklahoma City, became board members. They were not rowers, believe me. They were people that saw the benefit of having an activated riverfront, and this was a great way to do it. And we really tried to prove that it wasn't really about rowing, but rowing was the vehicle to get people moving and active at the river. And we broke down all the barriers we could. We have urban youth rowing, like the high schools around the river. They come out twice a week during the year, and they row. They have rowing teams. We have adaptive programming, which I understand you're going to start here in Tulsa, which is great. Transformational, life-changing for people. We have senior dragon boating. We have senior centers that come down and go dragon boating every week. Rowing, canoe, kayak, we've brought both of these sports together, which frankly, that may not seem like a big deal. And that's because if you were in a place that had that as part of their culture and it was around, usually those sports are kind of separate. And we approached it differently. We want everything together. And that was unique in Oklahoma City, and that added to our momentum. So this past weekend in Oklahoma City, as a result, and this is, you know, I have to skip over a lot to get to this point. There's a lot of things that were in play to put all this together, but the past weekend kind of represented where we've come in that we had 2 national championships on the Oklahoma River. One was the USA Canoe Kayak Sprint National Championship, and the other was the USA Canoe Kayak Slalom National Championship. The first time ever in the history of that sport, both of their disciplines could be contested at the same place at the same time. And so it was powerful because it was occurring right as the Rio Olympics kicked off. And so that was really a symbol of the future of the sport, because everyone competing in that national championship, they're the future. Those are the kids that are going to move on and be the Olympians in Tokyo and beyond. And now that they can do that at a training center in the middle of the country, crossroads of America, you know, it really sent a powerful message, and the fact that we can do it all here in Oklahoma City. And I think that what you're going to see in the future, whether it be in Rio or maybe LA which we hope in 2024, that you're going to see Oklahomans on the podium. And the athletes that you watch in the Olympics today, they're not. They train out of Oklahoma City. They've come through Oklahoma City. We haven't been around long enough to have truly kids that grew up and then they became Olympians in rowing and canoe kayak yet, but it's coming because it was shown. We have multiple national champions from this past weekend. And so I think that's really, really, you know, exciting to see the future of the sport is really playing out in Oklahoma City. And I want to share, I want to make sure I stay on time here. We're going to roll a video here in just a second. As soon as it comes about, I'm going to, the U.S. men's national team that you see on the water in Rio, I was told about a few months ago that there was a guy that was on that team in the 80s. And they went to the World Championship in Lucerne, Switzerland, which is a famous venue for the sport of rowing. And when they went to this World Championship in the 80s, the United States had 2 entries in this lightweight event. Well, international standards say that you can your country can only be represented with 1 boat. But both boats wanted to race. So they had to quickly come up with another name for their other boat. And so they thought, let's have some fun. Let's name ourselves after the craziest place we could think we were from. And guess what they said? We're the Oklahoma City Rowing Club. Yeah. This is true. This is a true story. And guess where they're headquartered now? Guess where the lightweight program is headquartered? It's Oklahoma City. So it kind of represents where things have come over the past 20 years or so with our development, 30 years really, and really the opportunity for the future. And does that video work to go ahead and roll it? Okay, very good. So I'm going to show you this aerial flyover of the venue as it is today. And what we see here is looking to the east with the Finish Line Tower, the Devon Boathouse, which is our high performance center, the UCO Boathouse, art and music is located in there, our adventure park, our Whitewater Center. This has all been master planned to every facility add something unique to the mix. They're all obviously architecturally connected. Many have won international design awards. People have come just to look at the boathouses, or it's neat now they're coming to the art gallery at the UCO Boathouse, but the fact they all bring something unique at the crossroads of America. Of course, the Riversport Rapids opened in May. Truly a whole game changer, as I've said before, for the district. We've had thousands of people have come through. Every Saturday we have about 1,000 rafters. You see going down the course on the left side, we have tubers on the left and rafters on the right. And from the top down, you can see both are tuned in for actually rafting on the right, and the left is when we had the national championship going on with kayakers. So it's we can do a lot of different things at one time with this venue, and the pumps allow us to tune it and make it easier or more aggressive, but it is, as I said, it's very authentic, and it is a high thrill when you go through it. And we've had to bring in a lot of guides, trained guides, to really make sure, because it is not a ride at Frontier City, like I said. Looking over here, you see our adventure features, our giant ropes course, which I'll talk about in a minute. But before we do that, I want to show you real quick how this all connects. Lake Overholser is where we began on the west side of Oklahoma City, and I'm showing you here how it exists today. We've now received about $1 million grant. We've rebuilt those facilities, and there's a wildlife refuge there. So now we have programming out there that complements what goes on downtown. It's really beautiful, and it just adds a whole nother dynamic. Route 66 goes right over this the river there, and it's all, again, the theme that you're going to keep hearing. It's all about activation, getting people moving on the water, which is exactly what I think can continue to build here in Tulsa, which we'd love to see. And looking at the wildlife refuge here and how you see the little stand-up paddle boarders in there and all. And so we've really tried to make rowing and these outdoor sports part of the culture in Oklahoma City through these venues. And the newest thing for us now is Lake Hefner. So taking our programming now to Lake Hefner, and we've added sailing to the mix. And so with your pass, one weekend you can go rafting, one weekend you can go sailing, the next weekend you go paddling in the wildlife refuge, you can go zip lining, climbing. It all helps as we try to inspire people to have active lifestyles or outdoor lifestyles in a place that when I graduated from high school in Edmond, I thought all my friends wanted to leave because they said there's nothing to do outside here. And obviously we're trying to change that perception and taking advantage of these assets and programming them. And the programming is such an important element to all of this. And so back to the Boathouse District real quick. You're going to see we continue to look for ways to find creative ways to get people moving. And it may seem a little bit like an amusement park at times, but it's not. Everything has a way of getting you moving, and that's the whole vision and mission behind that. Just last week, we opened the Velo Solutions pump track, which is kind of hard to see in the dark here, and it's a giant asphalt track. There's only 3 in the country, and so it caters to mountain bikers, skaters, BMXers, very unique in what it offers in the downtown area. So now we have a whole nother group that we're engaging and inspiring people to get out, and there will actually be event opportunities associated with that. We have the tallest ropes course of its kind in the country and actually in the world. Tallest dry slides in America. Their slides are fun, but you got to climb 7.5 stories to do it. So we have a fitness program connected to all of that. It's called FitQuest, and so we're actually in schools across Oklahoma. In fact, we were in a Tulsa elementary school, a couple of them last year, using rowing to inspire kids to get active in a variety of different ways. There's challenges, and then they get to come to the Boathouse District and race each other on the machines and get to experience all the attractions and venues. But it's all about, again, inspiring people to be active, get moving, and try to have the family have a healthier lifestyle using all of these great resources. So I hope you have a chance to come out. Many of you did get to take a tour, but it's not really a tour until you do it yourself. So until you get in the raft, until you go zip line or be involved. And we love working with Tulsa and all of my friends here and seeing the opportunity coming down the road with the river here and ways to activate and coordinate. And we have over 50 corporate rowing teams. We have actually 15 rafting teams now. So these are ways, when you ask about how do we create this culture pretty quickly, it was why, you know, we got into companies and had coworkers rowing together. It's kind of like a softball league, really, is what rowing has become. And then their kids get involved, and then the seniors. And so that's the kind of thing we'd love to see happen here, too. And you certainly have a lot of opportunity. And I will always remember our first boat, when we started, my wife and I started this program, our first 8-man shell. The Tulsa Rowing Club helped us with that. We helped. It was an older boat. We thought it was great. We got started, and that was really the origins of our programming there. So with that, I'll take any questions you might have. I think we have a few minutes, and go from there. Yes, sir.
I didn't know Oklahoma City had that much water. I mean, the video was very impressive. Is there always water in the river, or do you ever have to manipulate the water?
There is always water in the river, believe it or not. It doesn't, and that's one of the benefits to our river as a international venue, is the fact it's very low flow, except when we have a 500-year flood event, which seems like we've had a few in the last 5 years for whatever reason. But the water gets out of town really fast. But around those, when we don't, otherwise it's a very low flow, and it takes just a little bit of flow to impound that water. So even in drought conditions, we keep a steady pool. It's all computerized. And I'd actually get some flack. You saw a shot of Lake Hefner. There have been times when Lake Hefner has been down, like last year. People thought, oh, you're taking water from Lake Hefner, are you? And I'm like, no, we're not. And that's not why we're having programming out there now either. But you know, the idea is we are not. It takes very little water to do what we need to do in the river. So, yes, sir. Yes. Yeah.
We had seen the story, you know, the news special, and had read a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't seem like anybody ever mentions the fact that there's pretty much an identical one in Charlotte that was built in 1960.
Yeah. We actually took our Chamber of Commerce to Charlotte, and our venue is similar, and the designers, some of them are similar to the ones, or it's the same people that were in Charlotte. Ours is different in that it's urban. The one in Charlotte's about 20 miles out of town. It's a world-class venue in Charlotte. In fact, a lot of the athletes that you see in Rio train out of Charlotte because it's been there for the last 10 or more years. And so, yeah. So, yeah, the Coe River was where the '96 games were contested, and then the Whitewater Center in Charlotte came in a little after that as an artificial course. There's only 2 other artificial courses in America, one in Charlotte, one in Western Maryland. So this is unique, and this is the only one that's urban, downtown. So, yes?
A couple questions. First one is there a plan to plant some trees and have a unified downtown Oklahoma City area through this district?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what are the economics on return?
Sure. Real quick, we planted, I don't know how many, lots of trees with the opening of River Sport Rapids. We have a big tree planting planned within the Boathouse District. We have to be strategic where we put trees because we have a lot of big events with moving 60-foot boats around and the way things go. So there's certain places that we are going to do a lot of planting, and that's happening with the new downtown park as well. Though River Sport Rapids is an economic certainly development tool for Oklahoma City. If you look in the parking lot, it's pretty amazing. You see people from all over the country. I mean, people are there from California and Washington and Texas. It is a national destination, so there's obviously a heads and beds and economic impact in that regard. The city is not burdened by the operation. The Boathouse Foundation takes on the operation, so it was paid for by the citizens through the sales tax. And just like in Charlotte, we have it's free to come in and enjoy, walk around. That's by intent. We want people to enjoy it, and then if they want to raft, they pay to raft, and then we take care of the operations from it. So there's no burden on the city for making sure the whole venue stays in a world-class state, and that includes all the grounds of the Boathouse District. So we see that as the operations will become sustainable. Well, we never really shut down. The whitewater will shut down. We have wetsuits. When you go to Colorado, I guarantee you our water temperature in October will be warmer than the water temperature is today in Colorado. So we are trying to communicate and educate people in Oklahoma City. You can still raft in October and November. It'll be fine. We'll shut down. We have programming, a lot of indoor programming. Training never ends. Programming never ends. There is certainly an off season, though, for whitewater. So,
okay,
all right.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mike. We could probably go another hour. That's very interesting. And again, Oklahoma City, darn them, you know. We'll get you. There's a book that we will give our Adopt a School, Celia Clinton, for their library, and it's called The Boys in the Boat.
Very appropriate, yeah. Very good.
If you could inscribe a little message to our elementary kids there for inspiration, we'd appreciate it. If I could have Sarge come back up, and we're going to do our 50-50 drawing real quick. So everybody get out your tickets, and let's see how it goes.
Okay,
and I forgot to buy some today, so.
Then you can't win if you don't buy a ticket.
Well, that's true.
Okay, everybody, remember this money that we raise goes into the Rotary International Fund, and we're going to have a video next week that we're going to talk about. But for right now, I'll have did you just give my daughter your tickets? You did. Okay, well then my co-sergeant at arms is going to be our drawer since he gave my daughter his ticket. So. Bob has that title as co-sarge. The number today, the winning number is 247395. 247395.
All right.
We have a winner.
Head on up. Okay, he's a guest. So what we ask you to do is come up and draw a card. If you get the joker, you're a winner.
You're a winner. How much do you win? Well, it's somewhere between, the pot's somewhere between $400
and $20.
Yeah, you'll win. You will win more than you walked in with. Okay, how about that? So we'll just go there.
We'll cover your ticket cost.
Yeah, so you're going to pick one card, any card.
Oh.
The joker, but thank you for being here and thank you for being
Great
a
card.
winner. Okay.
Thank you very much, Catherine. I saw somebody back there with a row of tickets. I appreciate that. We'll catch you next week. And this all does go to Rotary Foundation. And if you had drawn the winner, the Rotarian that sponsored you would have gotten points for the money that goes back to the foundation. So bring your guests and get them to pull the ticket, and that way you get to win twice. Our upcoming programs, August the 17th, is a panel. Jeff Janes, Bill Major, Karen Keith with 02016. August the 31st, I'm looking forward to having Rick Corey. He certainly will humble me in voice inflection, but he's going to tell us stories about the road. So it's not a sports necessarily program, it's a stories of the road. And then September the 7th, Ken Busby with Route 66. I'm really looking forward to an update from Ken. There's exciting things going on. So I encourage you as you leave here today to tell your friends and coworkers about the Rotary Club of Tulsa and about the great things that are happening in Tulsa, and help us make a difference in the world through our participation, our exciting inflection and work in Tulsa. And with that, we are adjourned.